Today, we are turning up the volume on a buzzing financial topic, loud budgeting. Is this the latest breakthrough in money management or just a fresh spin on age-old wisdom? Whether you're a budgeting novice or a finance guru, join us today as we dive into the world of loud budgeting, exploring its roots, its rise, and what it really means for your wallet. So grab your headphones and let's get loud about budgeting today. Let's dive in.
Welcome to the Financial Mirror. Where future success is reflected in our knowledge of fixing the one thing we can control, ourselves.
Welcome to the Financial Mirror, and thanks for joining me today as we work to improve the one thing that we can control, ourselves. Here at the Financial Mirror, it is not about the numbers and spreadsheets alone, but about transforming and educating you on money so that you can make smarter financial decisions. If this is the first time you're joining in, don't forget to hit subscribe on YouTube to be notified of all the new episodes as they release. If you are listening to this on a podcast platform of your choice, don't forget to like and subscribe to the podcast. If you're on Apple Podcast or Spotify, leave a 5-star review and a written comment, as both go a long way in getting this information out to more and more listeners. So today we are diving in to a trending financial concept, I guess we can say. It's called loud budgeting, and it is catching, the waves by storm. There are things all over the interwebs about loud budgeting. Today, I really want to dive into it. I want to kind of give my take, give my review, opinions, thoughts, suggestions, whatever you want to call them. But really understand, is this a new, revolutionary way in managing finances? Or is this just an old practice in new disguise? Maybe old wine in a new bottle? Like what is it? What is loud budgeting? And is it something that we should be applying to our lives today? So this all is new. It's all, fresh. But I saw, all over the internet, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to make a video on that. I don't know when that falls in my list of videos when they release, but what I will tell you is that this is a interesting concept. So, I was going to show the video. I'm not sure. I think the guy's name is Lucas Battle, if I'm honest. I'm not much of a TikToker. Actually, I never really, have had a TikTok account, so I'll apologize. You probably hate me now because I don't get on TikTok, but I don't. I've never once had a TikTok account. So regardless, if that's somewhere you live or somewhere you frequent or somewhere that you go occasionally, maybe you've heard of loud budgeting. Maybe you have. But what I wanted to do is kind of talk through what it is. I want to talk through kind of how does it apply to previous budgeting practices? What is it similarities? And then I want to talk about kind of is it applicable to your life, right? Can you apply this to your life? Is this something that you should look into? And that's kind of where I'm going to wrap this up. I don't expect it to be a long episode, but I had to cover this. I had to see kind of what is this hype about, and just kind of walk through it, right? Just walk through and see what it is. So I'm going to jump over. I do want to start by watching the video. If you are on a podcast, you should easily just be able to see the stream and be able to know that that this is something that is I guess you should be able to hear what Lucas is. I think his name's Lucas Battle, I think is what his name is. You should be able to hear what he says and follow along. You don't really need a video. It's just him looking at a camera. So But I did, like I said, I did want to kind of dive into it and help you just listen and walk through it. So let's jump into the video real quick, and then we'll cut back in and I'll walk through the rest of this episode.
Loud budgeting is a new concept I'm introducing for 2024. It's the opposite of quiet luxury. But if you know any rich people, you know that they hate spending money. So it's almost more chic, more stylish, more of a flex. Loud budgeting has the same feeling as sneaking candy into a movie theater. You feel like you got away with something.
Sneaking candy?
You feel like you're on an adventure. You feel like you're coming out of the situation winning. It's not I don't have enough, it's I don't want to spend. So it's like if your friend texts you, I want to hang out, you say I don't want to spend gas money on coming to you to hear you talk about your ex for 3 hours. Let's send a message to corporations about the national inflation level. Let's take a stand. Also, while quiet luxury is about idolizing celebrities, loud budgeting is about the everyday person, the average Joe. Celebrities are entertainers. They're here to entertain us. They're clowns, really. And think about it. Medieval peasants didn't ask the jester with a bum knee for a photo after their courtroom fart. So I don't think that So 2024 is all about loud budgeting, okay? Put that dollar in your pocket. Choose a stock that's going to rocket.
Interesting. Yeah, so I guess you kind of get to hear that. You kind of get to hear directly from Lucas, but yeah, the biggest thing is when we look at this is he kind of talks about, right, like loud budgeting is kind of just being vocal, right? So biggest thing, like when I look at it is like, what is, like, I really want to break this down. Right. So I've watched the video, obviously, I watched it with you. I've watched it before this. And let me kind of just break down what I take away from what loud budgeting is. Loud budgeting is kind of telling you to openly discuss your financial goals, your budget, your spending plan, all those things in a group or more social setting, to bring, highlights to your, or bring attention to your money, or what you're doing with your money. The key features that I kind of honed in on was that there's a big emphasis on transparency, right? Which is not a bad thing in your circle of trust. It's kind of about community support, accountability, things like that. Also not bad things to have when you're thinking about budgeting and people struggle with budgeting. But you could probably read my face, hear my sighs, and know that it just comes across to me as like you're like let me just tell you this. If I didn't have enough money, let me not know, because he didn't say he didn't have enough money. So Lucas didn't say I don't have enough money. He said I don't want to spend my gas money on you or coming over to your place to hear, to hear you talk or whatever. So, I mean, he's got a point, right? Like, he's got a point. He's not saying I don't have enough money. He's got a point. Like, but it's just like, hey, like, I just don't really want to spend that money on that right now. So is it a new form of budgeting, or is it just being honest with your social circle, right? Like, I don't know. That's where I'm struggling, because maybe he's just talking about being honest, right? Like being honest about your money with people that you care about, right? If somebody says, I'm going to come over, think about your response. Is your response normally going to be like, well, I just don't have enough money to come over, or what? Like, and maybe that's a lot. Maybe you do have enough money. You just don't want to spend it on that, right? And so he's saying, just being honest. Like, I don't want to spend my money to come over there and hang out with you. That's fair. But when we think about like how that compares to like historical budgeting, right? You think about like you have all these other things of budgeting: zero-based budgeting, envelope budgeting, 50-30-20 budgeting. Those are structures to managing your money. Those are structured, like 50-30-20, right? like 50, 30, 20, 50% to needs, 30% to wants, 20% to savings and debt, right? Like that. And I would combine the 30 with the wants and do like 50-50 if you had debt. But anyways, it's in an episode about 50, 30, 20. But that's kind of like what I think about whenever I am looking at this, is that all of these others are structures. They're structures to how you put your money together. Like, how do you manage your money? Loud budgeting is not that. Loud budgeting is an idea. It's a way to announce a way to like tell people publicly that you just don't want to spend your money on that, whatever that is, right? So it's not really budgeting. And that's where that's why I had to do this episode. It's not budgeting, right? So it's just loud financial talk or public financial talk or something, right? Like, it has nothing to do with budgeting. Budgeting is a like I said, like a zero-based budget. You're budgeting every dollar that you earn. You're telling it to go somewhere. Envelope budgeting, you're putting cash in envelopes to like say, hey, this envelope is for grocery. You're using it to actually manage money. And when we think of loud budgeting, it has nothing to do with that. It's a way to it's like a self-control mechanism, right? It's an accountability more than anything. So I just think is poorly named, right? Like, it's poorly named. That's kind of my honest opinion. Very impactful and like is it something that you can apply to your life when we think about it? Sure. If naming something like being open, honest with your social network, if that is something that, if loud budgeting, if calling that things that, like that honesty, if giving it a name motivates you to effectively budget, okay, cool, do that. Loud budget, but make sure you do an actual budget, right? Like, that's what I just don't. I'm not getting it. I'm sorry. Come after me, but I don't get it. I don't get how that's budgeting. It's not budgeting if we're honest about it. However, it did trigger a lot of good reactions, right? It triggered a lot of good reactions. What did that trigger? It triggered for people to start talking about money. They started talking about money, right? By Lucas coming out and talking about loud budgeting, it got people talking about their money, right? It got people focused on their money, which is not a bad thing. It got them wanting to be more conscious of where they're spending their money. It got them more conscious of not just blowing their money on things they don't need, right? So I applaud that video for that. If it did anything, it brought attention and awareness to people and them having control of their money. It also triggered off a lot of like no spend January like resolution type things, right? People were trying to go the whole month of January without spending, anything more than their needs or things of that nature, whatever their no spend kind of looked like. But that's something that people like gravitated towards. They wanted to accomplish that. Applaud that. Great effort. I'm not getting behind the loud budgeting part. It just needs a different name. But it's cool. It's trendy. It's flowing, I guess. But let me just tell you that it's not a way to budget. So if you're working with me and I'm the financial coach that you're working with, and you came to me and I was like, hey, so how's your budget going? I was like, yeah, it's going. It's pretty loud. It's a loud budget. I'm like, oh. Like, that's a whole nother conversation. Like, I don't think I'm ready for that one. I don't think I'm ready for someone to tell me when I ask them, do you budget? And they say, yeah, I've been loud budgeting for like 6 months now. I do not think I'm ready for that one. I need to prep my responses for that one. Anyways, like I said, I just saw this and I had to put a video together to kind of walk through it. like I said, it's interesting. It's a new technique. It kind of just repackages a whole bunch of other things like accountability and people holding you to not spending money where you don't want to or where you don't have to. But more importantly, it's kind of a way of life, right? Like if you're around people that care about you, and I think this is my takeaway from all of this is, you do not have to talk about finances with everyone, right? First and foremost, you want my honesty. You don't need to talk about your finances with everybody. Finances is like religion. It's one of those things that, are politics nowadays. Like used to, you could talk about politics. You can't talk about politics with people because it's one of those subjects. Nutrition advice, like nutrition advice, exercise advice. Like those are just things that you shouldn't talk about it. You just have to have select audiences to talk about these things because they're so confrontational topics, right? Like people just like, if I'm working out and I think that my workout is perfect, and if you don't work out like me, like you're wrong. Like it's tough. Finances is the same way. Religion is the same way. My religion's better than yours. And if you don't practice my religion, like you're wrong. My eating habits are better than yours. And if you don't practice my eating habits, then you're wrong. Right? I think that's the part of loud budgeting I just can't get behind, is that you don't need to talk about your finances with everyone. Relationships with people is important. Accountability partners are important. Things like that are important, but to just go around and tell people, hey, I just don't want to spend my money on like gas to come see you today. I can't get behind that. I can't get behind that if that's not someone that I have a good relationship with. And I definitely wouldn't word it like that. I'm not opposed to being honest with people. But there's definitely new ways to look at that. Like, hey, like I'm running a little tight on gas this month in terms of my budget, and I don't want to have to adjust that. And I'm my tank's a little low, and I just can't refill it again this month before the month's over, or whatever. Like be honest, but don't be rude, right? Like don't be like, yeah, I just don't want to spend the money to come over and see you, right? That ruins that relationship. So now that I've kind of walked through this out loud and you got to hear a lot of my raw thoughts, I understand the concept. I understand what Lucas was going after. I got it. I understand it. But it's not budgeting. Loud budgeting is not budgeting. It's not. It's a pronouncing of where you're spending your money and where you're not spending your money, and getting public accountability and things like that. That's kind of more what it is. It's not budgeting. And the other thing is, if depending on how you say this and who you say this to, it's kind of flat out rude in some capacities, especially if there's nicer ways to say, like, I'm tight on my budget, or I'm tight on a budget because I'm trying to make these financial moves. I'm trying to move down this financial journey. I'm trying to invest more. I'm trying to save more. I don't have as much money to spend on gas. I don't have as much money to spend on food this month. Like you can say that without saying, I don't have enough gas money to come hang out with you. Right. It's very direct, right? Like, I just don't want to hang out with you. You're not worth my gas money. So I don't get behind it. I don't get behind it. But anyways, not to drag this out, I just wanted to kind of talk through that. But I'm curious, go in the comment section. Tell me if I misinterpreted this. If I misinterpreted it, let me know. Put it in the comment section. Tell me how wrong I am, but don't just say you're wrong. Say I'm wrong and tell me how I misinterpreted what loud budgeting is. Maybe I just don't get it. Maybe I'm just not grasping it. Maybe I'm too ingrained in all the other more traditional budgeting methods. I've seen those work, and I'm just not as hip as loud budgeting. I don't know, but put in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Let me know what your thoughts on loud budgeting is. Maybe this is the first time you've heard about it. What are your thoughts? Like, do you agree? Do you disagree? Like, did you interpret something different than me? Like, I don't know. Like, help me out. But I'm curious. But all in all, now, if you do kind of just, here's my plug. If you do want to get on a budget, and not a loud budget, but a normal budget, a traditional budget that I've seen magically work in people's lives for year after year after year, hit me up. Go to thefinancialmirror.org and hit book now in the middle of the screen and get a free consultation. If you want to get started budgeting, happy to get you set up, happy to start working with you, get you a good framework, a good foundation for how to budget. If you do want to give an extra dose of support to the stream, head over to thefinancialmirror.org/shop. Pick you up some awesome Financial Mirror gear. I appreciate you tuning in. Hopefully, this is an episode that's a little different than what I normally do, but appreciate you tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share this episode. If you are listening to this on a podcast platform of your choice, don't forget to leave a 5-star review and a written comment. They both go a long way in getting the information out to more listeners. Like I said, this is much different than what I normally do. I like to talk about current events, and I don't get into the trendy stuff often because they're very short-lived. But I saw this. It was making tons and tons of rounds, and I said, you know what? Let me just do a quick analysis of it and give you my thoughts, give you my opinion on this. But let me know in the comment section if you agree, disagree, or if you just have another thought about loud budgeting or something I missed. Happy to it. Until next week, continue improving the one thing you can control, yourself. Peace.
Well, that wraps up today's Financial Mirror. Join us next week as we continue to work on ourselves, change our mentality, and to commit to achieving the success we always envisioned. Regardless of your platform, help us grow as a community. Please like, subscribe, and share with the people in your lives.